This is the highest ranking official in the UN that we've heard describing what could be ethnic cleansing taking place in Myanmar. What do you make of that? Do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, this is the first time that we've had such a senior UN official describe this as ethnic cleansing. In the past, they have warned that what the human rights violations taking place could be crimes against humanity. But to be unequivocal that this is ethnic cleansing taking place is very significant.
The UN Security General Antonio Guterres has called on Myanmar to give these people legal status. In your experience, is that something that you think could happen if enough pressure was brought to bear on Myanmar's government?
I think it's hard to say now. I think what we've seen in the last 5 years, which is the period when the repression of the Rohingya has been increasing, is the international community looking the other way. And there was a time when pressure maybe could have persuaded the government and the military, but now that it's a completely different situation. We've seen half the Rohingya population driven out of the country now. We're hearing reports of new areas where the military are coming, new Rohingya areas where they're starting operations now to drive more out. And we've had barely any condemnation from the international community.
Why is that, do you think?
It's astonishing. I've been at Burma Campaign 20 years. I've never seen a human rights crisis in Burma on this scale before, this severity, this intensity, and the lack of an international reaction to what's taking place is extraordinary. I think we've got a combination now. A lot of businesses have gone into the country. Human rights have slipped down the international agenda. But I think there's also, some governments seem to think that if they criticize Aung San Suu Kyi or too strongly, then it will undermine her when the military are still such a powerful force. But it's not a valid argument.
I'm wondering if this is part of the problem, that everyone's so keen for Myanmar to succeed as a country that's come out of the cold into democracy. It's also complicated by the fact that Aung San Suu Kyi and the government is saying that it's fighting insurgents in Rakhine State.
There's a propaganda war going on at the same time as there's a physical war going on against civilians. A lot of the criticism that there has been focused on Aung San Suu Kyi, but it's Min Aung Hlaing, the head of the military, who's carrying out this ethnic cleansing campaign. He's barely being mentioned, is not being talked about as the person responsible, but he is. He's literally calling the shots here. Until he personally starts to face some pressure from the international community, we're likely to see this campaign carrying on.
Myanmar has said that it's setting up humanitarian camps for the Rohingya who are in need. You take a very different view of what those camps are. Tell me about that.
Well, we know about these kind of camps because they were created in 2012 as well, when there was attacks against Rohingya communities then. And what they turned into is prison camps. They're not a place for humanitarian aid. UN officials visiting them described them as some of the most squalid camps in the world that they've ever seen. You have very high rates of child malnutrition, you have women dying in childbirth, people dying from preventable diseases in these camps, no education for the children. So what the government is doing is driving the Rohingya that it can out of the country. Those too old, too infirm, unable to escape into Bangladesh, it's now putting into what will effectively be prison camps with no hope of them ever leaving.
Yeah, it's clearly an appalling situation there. Thank you very much indeed for speaking with us about it. Mark Farmaner there.